Yeah.
And Guidry goes, let's go look at something that took place 40 years ago. Who cares? Okay, that's political. Are we all here?
Yes. Welcome.
Yay! It's about time.
I know. I mean,
Let us all in. Okay.
I my butt, but let me begin by saying simply, Nick, I missed you. Adam, miss you. Jeff, loving what you've done, upgrading the place. Fernando, I don't know. I just feel you in my heart. And Guidry, wearing the white for girl power. I am so digging that. So, welcome everybody back. But you know how this goes. First, well, I'm gonna switch it up a bit, because Nick is, not really paying attention. So I'm
right.
This way.
That's my typical thing I did in law class.
Okay, no, Nick, and I'll throw it to you once I do mine. May I, Nick, please?
You can do whatever you want. It's your show.
I don't
go for it. Go for it, Den Master.
On behalf of IBM TV, International Broadcast Media, welcome to the Lawyer's Den, an independent, unique, kind of cranky kind of place where we get leading figures in thought and open discussion all together to maybe argue, maybe agree, maybe, well, we'll just see. But I do know that what I cannot do this alone without my 3-time chess state champion from Florida, who's now in North Carolina. Nick, are you out there anywhere?
I am. I'm here with my whole crew. The whole den has arrived, in case you didn't know. So the thing is, we're all chomping at the bit, and by this time, everybody should know who we are. But unless you want me to introduce everybody, but that's entirely up to you. Your show. Let me know.
Oh, no. Okay, well then here. Can I do a go around just to make sure?
You can do whatever makes you happy, Bill.
All right. So Nick is our 3-time champion with 3 LL, 2 L's and an M. I got Adam coming from Georgia with 2 LLs and an M. I got Jeff, and forget the LLM that he has. He's got Supreme Court. I got Fernando. Oh, Fernando, bringing it real from New York City and New York generally and just everything else. And then I've got Guidry, who...
She deserves applause because she's the one who has class in this place.
Who forever amazes us because she keeps us balanced. And, so with that in mind, Nick, now that I did your job, do you want to do my job and introduce the subject?
No, because the thing is, I have no clue what we're talking about today, but I generally don't. So with that, our subject matter expert, the Den Master, a graduate of SUNY Buffalo, shuffling off to Buffalo. Let's bring in the Honorable William Trezevant. William, tell us, what is today's topic? William Trezevant.
Well, once again, I may or may not be honorable, but I do happen to have this chair as long as you allow me, Nick. And so today we're going to be talking about human trafficking and U.S. immigration laws. And it has been a bit quiet since the new administration, but now immigration is right back there, and we can't, figure it out. And so I don't know if it is them making up a crisis or something we have to seriously think about. And then I don't know if in the process of these people marching to freedom, how many we lose that we do not know. So with that being said, I want to start with Jeff, because I know he's balanced and fair.
All right, Bill, was there a question in there somewhere?
No, there wasn't, Jeff. There was simply you. Start off the show.
Well, I mean, I think human trafficking is one of the most important issues that there is in the world. Every month I have a small donation come out of my bank account to Operation Underground Railroad, and I encourage other people to do it. They get like half of their revenue from small $5 to $10 donations, and it supports per month, and it supports what they're doing. It was founded by Tim Ballard, who was a former CIA agent, and he actually left the CIA after having to leave behind a child who was not within the scope of their mission, going into another country. And he said, I couldn't live with myself doing that. And he said, I felt like I had to do something to go out and start rescuing these kids from human trafficking. What needs to be done about it, I think, is open for debate. But we've got to get more involved, because there are actually more people being human trafficked in the United States right now than there were slaves during slavery, and it is a huge issue.
No. See, Jeff, you hit the nail on the head. And this is what, okay. And Gigi, I'm coming to you because you're at the intersection of immigration and this subject. So, young lady, and then wait, I want to let everybody else go. Fernando, I'm coming to you, and then Adam, I'm coming to you, and Nick, you're my cleanup hitter. So, Gidri, Adam, Fernando, and then Nick. Gidri, please.
So, human trafficking is it's a tough issue to talk about, as every single issue we discuss on this panel. As an immigration attorney, I am ripped apart when it comes to this new administration and being more flexible and more open for immigrants to come to the United States, particularly through the southern border. I am afraid that easier possibility for people to come into the United States also will make easier for certain products and human bodies to be transported or delivered into the United States. It is not a secret that the United States is one of the top countries when it comes to crossroad for human trafficking. Right now, an estimate is that in the world, approximately right now, there is 40 million people trafficked, working or doing forced servitude. It's more than Canada, population of Canada or California. So it's a big number. And I am afraid that this number, as Jeff put it, rightfully keeps growing up. And I'm very eager to see what this administration policies as, stop building the wall and processing people, is going to do to when it comes to trafficking of the people.
Okay, all right, and okay, Gigi, thank you. Adam, I can't punch you. I'm not coming to you next. I'm going to Fernando first, and then coming to you. Don't mind me, Adam. I'm taking a shot at you early on, so I want to gin this up. Fernando, remember, opening statement, okay?
Yeah, it seems that a lot of the individuals that come in that are human trafficked into the U.S. through immigration laws, it seems that the majority come in on legal visas that have a short duration, and then they are kept here because they owe a bond for the individual that purchased the visa for them, whether it's an H-2B visa, a tourist visa, or a student visa. And they get trapped in this cycle where they have to pay it off.
Fernando, isn't that involuntary servitude, which is what I thought we got rid of 200 years ago? Yes or no?
Oh, Yeah, but it comes back in human trafficking.
All right.
Is what it is. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, so Adam, human trafficking, a resurrection of slavery. You're in Georgia. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I am, for once, at a loss for words. Let me be very clear. Human trafficking, anybody with any sense knows that it's despicable. It's like saying 2 + 2 = 4. Justice Antonin Scalia was the best justice in the court's history. Okay? It's obvious. It's axiomatic. What we need to do to address human trafficking is very simple. We need to secure the border. We have 42,000 Border Patrol agents patrolling over 7,000 miles of land at 348 ports. We need to secure the border before we can have any comprehensive immigration reform or before we're going to have a real impact on human trafficking. And I expect that tonight, Guidry will join me in saying that we are not going to allow open borders.
Actually, I'm not sure about that, but I do want to ask you this, though, Adam. I mean, to the extent that we're dealing with this new immigration wave that's coming through, which occurs every single year, that makes them easy prey for trafficking. And so to what extent do our immigration laws, as they currently stand, being prohibitive to ease the way for, access to the United States, encourage human trafficking? Adam?
Well, you can lay the blame solely at the steps of President Joe Biden. Ever since Biden took office, there has been a massive surge at the border, and security at the border has been compromised. It's obvious, and the president and the executive branch has not sent any signal that they want to secure the border, precisely the opposite. So until we do that, I don't really want to talk about human trafficking. If you're not willing to secure the border, you're not going to solve the problem of human trafficking. And again, like I said, I expect everyone on this panel tonight will say they don't believe in open borders. President Biden is a disgrace for what he has done regarding the border. He's a disgrace.
Adam,
we have a crisis now at the border, and it is right at his doorstep.
Okay, Adam, I appreciate that. Right now, I ain't Nick, but I mean, I'm sorry your feelings hurt, but I mean, I got to go around the panel. Nick, please. Nick, please.
Okay, I mean, the thing is,
I know.
Nick,
let me button up.
Yeah, you better button up. I mean, button this guy up, but button this guy upstairs. Come on. He blames it on Joe Biden. I mean, what sort of guy does he think he is? A guy gets elected president. People go to the border, and all of a sudden it's his fault. Okay, first of all, let's get real. Mr. Sanctimonious guy who sits on the
top.
Look
at the increased immigration illegally since Biden.
What's this interruption?
Okay.
I know you like to interrupt me before I completely destroy your false arguments, which is pretty easy to do, given the fact that when it comes to immigration, like you know a lot about it. We have our subject matter expert, Guidry, who I would love to listen to, as opposed to somebody who sits on top of a hill at Georgia College. But let's get real, Bill. The immigration laws here are broken. It's not Joe Biden. First of all, we have a big problem in this country. We don't have enough babies. We're not making enough babies and young people to support the old people through our social security system. We need immigrants. We need lots of them, and we need them now so that they can come into our country, work hard, pay taxes, and make America great again. But that's not what we have. Instead, we have people that, let's shut the border. Let's put quotas on. Let's do this. Let's do that. Rather than say, hey, bring us your wealthy people. Okay, we want wealthy people in the United States. We want educated people in the United States. And we want hard-working people in the United States. Nothing that we have on that Statute of Liberty says that. And so we need to take that, sell it to whoever wants to buy it for the highest bidder to pay down the national debt, then open up our borders to bring those type of people in the door. That will solve a lot of our immigration problem, which is this I'm mightier than they are attitude that exists in both parties. We're not. You get hardworking people, you want them here, buddy. You want them here.
No. I got your economic rant.
Thank you, Councilman.
No, Guidry, I'm coming to you, and then Jeff, I'm coming to you, because we have, and quite frankly, Nick is kind of right on the economic.
No, I'm not kind of right. I am right. I just said I was right. So I say I'm right, therefore I am. Isn't that what Socrates said? I am.
Yeah,
I say I'm right there where I am.
Nick,
Right.
it was Descartes. I think, therefore, I
Okay.
am.
Well, okay. Whatever.
But may I? Deidre and Jeff and Nick, I was really trying to give you a bone here, but you just stepped all over it. Deidre, and then Jeff, please. Deidre, you're our SME, subject matter expert. I mean, what's going on?
I wish I could be a subject matter expert when it comes to human trafficking and immigration. It's a tough subject to talk about. I will agree in part with Adam and in part with Nick. Definitely agree with Nick when it comes to the issue of immigration. It is not a one administration's responsibility or lack thereof or screw up, as Adam mentioned. It is an inherited problem from administration to administration. It needs to be resolved. We need a comprehensive immigration reform. The comprehensive immigration reform should be done in 2 or 3-fold periods. That's where Nick's point comes, and I agree with Nick that there are a lot of intelligent, driven, successful people who want to come to the United States to invest and make the United States better. At this point, I'm working with world-renowned galleries from Italy. I'm working with number 5 swimmer from Venezuela. I'm working with an Emmy-nominated journalist, and all of them. I'm working also with Kazakhstani entrepreneur who was a driven force of Dynamo, the biggest semi-Olympic complex in all Soviet Union. So those are only few examples of the cases that I am working really, really hard to get green card for them to be able to mentor, to invest, to build, and be part of the society of the United States. And it's tough. It's really, really tough, and it's pricey. The second part of it would be the asylum seekers. United States is a very understanding and humane, probably number 1 when it comes to the humanity country, and we cannot forget the human cost of the suffering around us. We don't owe anything to them. However, if we are in a place to help certain people that's where comes the border security issue. We cannot open the border and allow every single person. There has to be a vetting mechanism because we only child population, and it could be done. Especially with the current before using drones to use current technology, it could be done. And I think that a bigger number of asylum seekers could be allowed than we allow right now, or big numbers being trapped in the middle of the detention centers, for which taxpayers end up paying money. Really quickly, to talk about Adam, and just 2 sentences say the difference between Trump's administration and Biden's administration. Adam, Trump administration created this migrant protocols, meaning that 60,000 people were trapped, facing cartel and different danger. It was a bandage. The people, the conditions they were rotting in were supposed to be exploded one way or another because it was
No, Deidre, really, I get the part. We gotta go to Jeff. No, Deidre, we gotta go to Jeff, then Fernando, and then we'll come back to Adam. Adam, don't think I forgot about you, but Jeff and Fernando, you guys are up. Jeff, please.
Well, first of all, yes, Adam is right about the border mostly. I mean, this was a huge problem before Joe Biden ever came into office, so we can't completely blame him for it. But the border is an issue, and interdiction at the border has to be one priority. However, this has got to be a much bigger issue. It's an international problem. I mean, some of our own kids here in the United States that get trafficked end up in Thailand. And so we've got to investigate more strongly. We've got to be more aggressive in attacking the problem. This is the organized crime issue of our time. And it is also the slavery issue of our time. It is the most important issue, really, when it comes to protecting our citizens and protecting the vulnerable children. This is the most important issue on our table. So I think we've got to investigate. We've got to do kind of what Tim Ballard is doing with Operation Underground Railroad. It costs them about $1,500 to rescue one little girl. Now, when you look at, I think Deidre talked about 40 million kids. You know, what is that times $1,500? And with $1,500, we're not even talking about just rescuing them. We're talking about providing education, and rehabilitation services and other things that child's going to need to adjust after they come out of a very traumatic situation like that, and give them some chance at moving forward in life. Operation Underground Railroad is kind of like that parable. You hear about the guy walking along the beach throwing the starfish out into the ocean, and somebody says, does that really make any difference? And the guy holds up one starfish and throws it out and says it makes a difference to him.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at. We're trying to do it one person at a time, but we got to get a whole lot more people involved.
No, I got that part. No, and Fernando, please unmute, because here's a direct question, because I think Jeff raises an accurate point. Because to what extent, on the one hand, do our current immigration laws, which we just, it seems to me that they're just like, I'll meet you at the border. But Jeff is talking about something a bit larger, holistic, from when they get here, educate, and more often, not to mention the ones we lose in the process. Now, Fernando, Jeff, what do you think about what Jeff said? Because, and Fernando, I'm going to ask you this, because you're coming from New York City, and that has the Statue of Liberty, and coming to you next. But Fernando, Statue of Liberty, give me your tired, your poor, your hungry masses, city immigrants that we're built on. Jeff makes an excellent point. Fernando.
Yeah, look, in terms of Nick, our approach to Nick should be the following. There's a saying that goes, never approach a bull from the front, never approach a horse from the back, never approach a fool from any direction. And in all honesty, that's really, every time I hear Nick talk about the Statue of Liberty and all this other nonsense, that's what pops into my head. In terms of Jeff, I do agree. And part of this is that it is organized crime. Nobody's touching on the fact that we're talking about human trafficking. So what about all this immigration reform and this, that, and the other? Most of the people that are trafficked into the country, those that are coming from Thailand, those that are coming in from south of the border, are being brought in with visas, an H-2B visa, a tourist visa. And what is done in these countries, let's say I'm going to use Mexico as an example because it's the one down closest to us. A coyote goes out to the hinterlands. They talk to the family and they tell them, listen, I have a great job for your daughter in the United States. She's going to make all this money. She's going to send it back. She's going to take care of you guys. Or their kid who's 14 or 15. The family that says, yeah, okay, please take them. Give them a better life. They go wherever. They bribe somebody. They get a visa. They bring the person in. Once they get the woman in, now her job is that she is going to be a prostitute to pay off the money that they used to get her into the country. Or if it's a kid, to one of the many sweatshops that still exist making fake Prada bags, fake jeans, and the like. And we could keep talking about how we're going to secure the border. That's great. I'm all for that. Comprehensive immigration reforms. That's great too. But where we're going to have to attack is what Jeff said. We have to start going after organized crime, because these are the people that are bringing them in. Some of these people, if you go to any construction site in New York City, there's a bunch of flagmen and none of them speak English.
No. Fine. Fernando, I appreciate that. Nick, here's the issue. Do we have an affirmative obligation as Americans to invoke what Fernando talked about? That is to say, the larger moral obligation that also Jeff alluded to. Or are you just going to be a curmudgeon, Nick? Mute, Nick.
Okay, that'll help me out. Total curmudgeon, Bill. So the thing is, like I said, my policy is really simple. The people that Guidry's talking about, these high talented people, they come in the United States. The people that have money, and matter of fact, I understand from another immigration attorney that apparently if you have 900,000 today, you can basically get a green card and come to the United States. I'm okay with that. You get hardworking people, and a lot of people south of the border are hardworking people. They're not like your normal Americans. They come in the United States. Now, all the charity cases, we got to segregate that part out. And in terms of all this build the wall, stop the people, look, we can't compete economically with India and China that have over 1.3 billion people each when we have a 330 million person population growing at such a slow rate that we're not going to be able to fund Social Security. So we actually need those people, and we got to change that whole conversation, Bill, of having them unwanted to have them wanted here in the United States, provided they meet those three criteria. And the fourth criteria, charity cases, and we have to segregate that one out differently.
All right. Look, you say charity cases. I mean, you left out slavery. But look, I'm leaving that alone. I'm going Guidry, Adam, and don't mind me. Nick said charity cases. I said slavery. Him and I are clearly on two sides of the screen. So Guidry, Adam, but don't mind me. Guidry, please. And then Adam, please. Mute, everybody.
So yeah, I agree with Fernando. If United States is a big demand country for slavery,
wait, well, no, Guidry, how can you agree with Fernando? I thought you like Fernando.
Oh, I adore Fernando. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. I'm one of our Cuban compatriots.
No, but it's true. It's true. The forced servitude and trafficking. It's a United States is one of the primary countries on demand. It's an invisible subject, invisible practice that happens right before us, and we have to warm up to it to be able to address it better criminally. And I was very impressed by a recent Olympics case against John Gedert, the past Olympic coach of 2012, who killed himself prior to being convicted, that he was charged on 15 counts of human trafficking. And why it was forced servitude for the young trainees in order to make them weaker, to hurt themselves, and then to be able to manipulate for his own benefit using fraud, coercion, or intimidation. So I think we're getting there, and it's a big case, but when it comes to the United States, we need to address it, as Jeff mentioned. So Jeff mentioned that it takes $1,500 to try to save a girl. You know how much money usually one person, let's talk about sex trafficking, how much money a pimp could make from one girl just during 1 year of sex trafficking, around $203,000 a year. So those are a lot of, this is big number of money. There are a lot of institutions involved in maintaining this practice, and we should warm up to it and try to start addressing it. You know, I will say really quickly, when I studied international policy at Cornell International School of Affairs, I took a course of human trafficking, and my professor said that every single time, he taught that class for 20 years, and he said every single time after finishing teaching that course, he taught it once a year, he promised himself, I would not teach it again because it's so depressing, and because that every single year he would see increase of numbers. So we have implemented policies.
Okay. No, Guidry, I appreciate that. Adam, and then Jeff. Adam, look, in fairness, I gave Guidry the floor, and she pontificated. So, much to my chagrin, I'm going to give you a bit of a leash on this one, but it's going to be a tight leash because I really got to get this Jeff. Okay, so Adam, all right, Adam, mute Adam.
I want to make 3 quick points. First, we have to secure the border. Why? Because illegal immigrants commit federal crimes at rates exceeding native crimes. Number 2, cartels are trafficking people across the border. Number 3, massive amounts of drugs, heroin, cocaine, for example, are being illegally brought through the border. Number 2, we have to recognize that our foreign policy has destabilized Central America, and part of the reason why we have such immigration issues is because our foreign policy destabilized these nations, and as such, changing our foreign policy to invest in the economic well-being and the economic prosperity of these countries will be a prudent and prudential way to deal with this. Number 3, asylum seekers is a red herring. 90% of asylum applications are turned down. Okay, so that's a red herring. Now, what I would end with is simply saying that the president sets the tone. Yes, President Biden is not solely to blame for everything, but he is to blame for the recent increase because his directives to ICE to make it much more difficult to deport individuals who are already here, coupled with his commitment to a path to citizenship, coupled with his refusal to continue building the wall and his de-emphasis on border security, incentivized individuals to come here illegally. And that is a fact. So ultimately, you have to secure the border, you have to address the foreign policy issues, and you can't be caught into the fact that asylum seeking is really a part of this. It really isn't. And human trafficking, I have to tell you, the problem is not only from Mexico.
Oh, no.
If you want to address that, that's a separate issue.
I know, Adam, and I gave you the floor for a bit, and now I'm pulling it back. Because, Jeff, I want to ask you this question, if I may. Jeff,
Well, Bill, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, sure, you can. It's a lot.
I have not heard one panelist say, I am against open borders, and that border security is the predicate to comprehensive reform. I have not heard one panelist. And Guidry, as the expert, I'm still waiting for her to say, she's had many opportunities, I'm not for open borders.
Adam, that's great. I'm going to get back to Guidry right now, name Jeff, because I have a different question for Jeff. If you don't mind, Adam, before you want an answer from Guidry. And then, Nick, I'm coming to you. And Fernando, don't think I'm forgetting about you. Jeff, this is my question for you. And that is this, is that you are steeped in the tradition of the Founding Fathers. And you know this is a nation of immigrants. And you always impress me when you wax philosophically quoting our Founding Fathers about any number of subjects, whether it's the Supreme Court or otherwise. I'm wondering what you have to say based on your past experience about a nation of immigrants, immigration law, and what we choose to do with our laws and how that may adversely affect either with a result of human trafficking or otherwise. Jeff, please.
Well, first of all, I'll say what Adam said. I am not for open borders, and I do believe border security plays a role in this problem. I also believe in immigration. I believe that as a country, as a distinct sovereign, we have the right and even the responsibility to know who is coming into our country and what they're doing here. So I don't have a problem with immigration, but I want legal immigration where we vet the people that are coming in. Now, this is a bigger problem than immigration. As I said, Adam mentioned foreign policy issues. And one of our viewers, Jordan Bell, I'll give him a shout out, said that a lot of the people coming into the United States for trafficking purposes, a lot of the kids are from Asia, which is true. A lot of them are also coming in from the Caribbean. And so, you know what, we have got to have a look at a lot of the orphanages that are fronts for human trafficking throughout the world. And we have to figure out how to do that without violating the sovereignty of different countries. Now, Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad, who I've mentioned before, they go in and they cooperate with the local governments. They do sting operations to catch the people that are doing it. So they rescue the kids and they catch the people who show up with those kids in tow. And I think, though, we need an even bigger, more aggressive approach that involves both interdiction in and out of the border, but also the investigation, the aggressive prosecution, working with other governments. And I tell you, if we had spent what we spent on our worthless war in Iraq to take care of this problem, it would be gone.
Okay.
And
all right. Okay.
a much more important problem in my mind.
I appreciate that. Fernando and then Nick, please. All right, look, I'm going to go Fernando, Nick, Guidry, and then Adam. I have to come back to you. So Fernando, Nick, Guidry. Let's all line it up. Fernando, you're up.
I'm ready. Listen, I wish Adam would stop bringing up the stupid topic about open border, non-open border. Nobody's for an open border, but that's not today's subject. So really, that's why nobody's commenting on it, because who cares? We've discussed that ad nauseum in other shows. Today's point is human trafficking. And a lot of the people being trafficked, especially those coming from Asia, Southeast Asia, Eastern European women, have nothing to do with the southern border or whether the southern border is protected or not. It should be. A wall isn't the answer, but they're getting in through legal means, whether they're being brought in as housekeepers and then they're being forced to work 17-hour days for $100 a month, 7 days a week, and then that visa is allowed to expire. They keep the person trapped in the house so that they don't come outside. That's not an issue of a border because that person got in here legally. Once they were here legally, then they became illegal, but you don't know that they're there because they're not allowed outside the house. You know, there was a case
Okay. No, I got it. See, so now, Nick, listen, isn't the issue, because, I mean, we were about to examine comprehensively immigration laws again, and Fernando, I think, just nailed it on that point. And that is to say that a lot of this human trafficking, a lot of this other stuff, they're coming in legally under our current, immigration laws. So, Nick, I mean, how do we do it? Rather than demonizing the borders, I mean, rather than what they're doing as they, trash people in your nation under the Statue of Liberty, Nick.
Yeah, well, it goes back to show you how Adam is so completely off base with putting a big border on Mexico when everyone on this panel knows that most of the illegal immigrants come here legally. In other words, they come here as a visitor and they just overstay their welcome because they want to work here and they want to stay here and they don't want to go through the system where they have to pay Guidry tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars to get them a green card. That's the real reason what's going on. It's because our legal system is broken because greedy lawyers, like a lot of the people that sit here on this panel, are sucking up money out of the system. If we had a more lax and lenient and better drafted immigration policy in this country, we wouldn't have this conversation today, Bill. And that $150 billion, which are spent on trafficking, would dry up in a New York minute. But we don't want to do that because we have too many vested interests to keep this immigration in basically a 18th century format when we live in the 21st century, counselor. So I rest my case.
Adam.
Well, number one, Fernando should know that human trafficking is inextricably intertwined with immigration and the failure to secure the border. What we need to be doing at the border is we need to be identifying potential or likely victims of human trafficking, and we need to be providing them with support services, legal, social, and otherwise. And I'm proud to say the Department of Homeland Security has just set up a Center for Countering Human Trafficking, which does just that. That's a great thing. Number two, when I talk about securing the border, what do I mean? I mean that, yes, in some parts, a wall does work, and statistics have shown that. In addition, technology can be very helpful. Number three, you want to have more Border Patrol agents, and perhaps most importantly, you want to have more judges so that they can adjudicate these claims much faster, okay? That's critical. And number three, I think we have to recognize that if you don't secure the border, you can't have comprehensive immigration reform. And you're right, this has been a problem for decades. Well, it's time to solve it. And I have given 3 specific solutions to do it, and I haven't heard any solutions from anybody else that are working.
No. I am not going to. I'm going to throw a yellow flag on that one. I am not going to allow you to just cavalierly say, I haven't heard this, I haven't heard that, because we haven't heard from anybody else yet. Jeff. No, right. So, Adam, sit tight. Jeff, Guidry, because I'm not going to listen to Adam. Please, help me find a way that I don't mute him tonight.
Well, first of all, we have to address, like I said, immigration and the border is part of it, and I include airports as part of the border. That's part of it, but that alone will not solve it. People are finding ways. If somebody wants to get a whole bunch of illegals in, and they've got what Guidry talked about, a $200,000 a year incentive to bring someone into the country for human trafficking purposes, they're going to find a way. We've got to look at the dark web, as Jordan Bell, our viewer, just commented. That's one place that
very intelligent commentator
sold like they're on eBay. We've also got to look at bringing down the cartels. We've got to do deeper surveillance and investigation. We've got to look at the front businesses. like I mentioned before, particularly orphanages. Tim Ballard has taken down several orphanages in the Caribbean through Operation Underground Railroad. A little private charity has done that in cooperation with governments, because they find that they're getting vulnerable kids that don't have parents and selling them to the highest bidder. And we've got to attack it the way we would attack any other issue in organized crime, the way we fought the war on drugs. This is a more important issue in a lot of ways, and it affects a huge number of children that cannot speak for themselves.
Okay, Guidry and then Nick. Guidry, please.
Well, Jeff, when you mentioned our successful war on drugs, how we should address this current issue, I would highly disagree. I don't think that we had a successful war on drugs. But when it comes to what Adam said that nobody talks about, especially me, I haven't talked about the security of the border. Adam, I think you keep pressing the snooze button when I talk. I think I started with that. Secured border is a part of comprehensive immigration system and reform that we want to. However, that secured border is not only physical border, and I do not believe that much in that physical border. I think that technology could be used better, and resources could be used better for that. So when it comes to what Fernando said, I agree with Fernando. I think that there is the whole level of human trafficking that involves, and Fernando, you constantly keep referring to women. Not only women are being trafficked, and I just want to clarify that a lot of men and children are being trafficked, and in fact, the forced labor, not the sex trafficking, is much higher than the sex trafficking. So we're talking about all kinds of gender and age. When it comes to mm-hmm. Oh, I thought that Bill wanted to shut me up. Can I hear you?
I mean, there's one thing I got to get to Nick, and I got to get to Fernando before 46. Go ahead, Adrian.
So just go back to that. I think that there is big problem. So when it comes to going into the houses and the forced servitude as the maids and home nannies, it is more delicate because the ICE and the security enforcement groups do not want to get involved in private lives. And then there's also comes the issue of education, of language, of intimidation. A couple of years ago, there was a really good article on The Atlantic written by a son of a diplomat from one of the Eastern countries, I don't remember, who said that for 25 years or something, I lived with my family and my nanny was a forced labor servitude. So it's very, very common, and sometimes people do not even think about it, what it is. So here my suggestion would be, in addition to everything that Adam suggested and Jeff and Fernando, I think also talking about, educating about, discussing it would also be good. So it's not only sex trafficking, we also need to dive into forced servitude and labor, what's happening here.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fernando, I'm teeing you up, but Nick, this is my question. Why is it now that whenever it deals with white people, with involuntary servitude, nannies or whatever it is that they're doing, why is that different than what happened with slavery, Nick?
Oh, there isn't much difference. Bill, you already know that. I mean, the thing is, that's what America made America great to begin with, unfortunately. So the thing is, it's and we have indentured servants right here in the United States. They're called law students right after they graduate with $250,000 in student debt, and they can't discharge it through bankruptcy. So we have indentured servitude. It's kind of like, hey, that's the way it is. Get over it. But at the meantime, with our immigration rules the way they are, it's not it's broken. I mean, the thing is, it's not the border. It's just the attitude. In other words, we put up this big border. At least that's the whole goal, to keep Native Americans, which basically are the ones that are trying to get in, at least through the border. Hate to say it, old Adam and your followers. The people that are trying to get here are the people that have been here. It's generally Native Americans that came in from Honduras. They live in Guatemala, and they're coming up the Mexico border and try again. Those are the people that you, quote, don't want. Or they're the Asians that are coming in and being trafficking. If we just change our immigration laws to make it more accessible for people to get here, then you're going to see that industry dry up. But no, we don't want these people here because we're too good, because we're Americans. And so that's the attitude that's wrong. That's the attitude that this panel has taken. That's the attitude that lawyers have taken. And we need to change that attitude. This will change the whole composition of what America is all about, as it was years and years ago, which is before America even became the United States of America. And that's what we need to change, Bill. We change that, and this whole thing will change.
I appreciate that.
Open the borders, baby. Open the borders.
Okay, well, fine. Fernando, Adam, Jeff. Fernando, please unmute. Good.
I'm unmuted. Yeah, look, this is an issue that didn't start today. It's been going on since at least 1854 when they passed the Padrones Act, which was a group of men named Padrone were stealing kids from Italy, bringing them to New York and having them be musicians on the streets or beggars to put money in their pocket. So we've been trying, this human trafficking and immigration has been going on for a very long time. It didn't just start today. One of the first human trafficking cases in the US was US v, get this right, Koziminski. And it wasn't immigrants, it was human trafficking within the US. And that's another problem. There is a human trafficking statute passed in 2000, and it deals with human trafficking from abroad and human trafficking from state to state. And a lot of the child sex rings that take place are state to state. It's not so much coming from the outside in, it's from within, teachers using their students to take them from Florida to Georgia, or from Georgia to South Carolina, or from Georgia down to Florida. And to Guidry's point,
you can't be picking on Adam this time, because
I'm not picking on Adam because I said South Carolina. I'm pretty sure if I would have dug deeper, I would have found North Carolina too. But and as to Guidry, I do agree that it isn't just women. I do know that it's men who are brought in for forced labor. But when you start mentioning women, that's what gets ears and people to perk up. Because it is what it is. That's just how people are geared. And I did mention forced labor in terms of sweatshops in New York City that use kids and use men to make knockoffs. They're in Chinatown. Mm-hmm. And those people get in here with legal visas. They're not coming in illegally. So securing the southern border, yes, it's great. I'm all for it. It isn't going to stop people coming in from Southeast Asia and Asia who are coming in with a legal visa, and then they have to pay off that visa because in China they bribed someone, whether it was at the embassy or somewhere else.
No, Fernando, I get that because you're not raising indentured servitude. But Adam,
but that is indentured servitude because that is an indentured servitude because they're working for no money to work off their bond.
Nick, you are mute. So, you self-muted. I don't know what you're doing over there. So, you look like a Muppet. Adam, I'm going to ask you this while Nick is just, you're ranting and raving and looking like a lunatic. To the extent that we as a country are about to confront or deal with a comprehensive immigration reform under the current president, what parts of the law do you think really needs to, be changed? And then, wait, and for our audience, Adam, and then I'm going to go to you, Jeff, and then I'm going to leave the lunatic Nick off for a second. But so it's going to be Adam, Jeff, and Guidry. And then Nick, make sure your microphone is on. Adam, and I don't need a State of the Union address here. I simply need, an answer to the question.
Number one, a path to citizenship for individuals who are already here illegally. Number two, you need to secure the border like I've suggested, the ways I've suggested. And number three, you have to take away the market for human trafficking. Let me make an analogy. The way you effectively attack child pornography is you take away the market for child pornography, thereby disincentivizing people from making it. Here, with regard to human trafficking, you have to take away the market for exploitation by providing people who are here with a path to financial and social stability and a path to citizenship, okay? That's how you do it. But you simultaneously have to secure the border because we can't have millions and millions of people coming in. That's not economically sustainable. But taking away the market for human trafficking is the key, as is securing the borders and providing a path to citizenship for those already here.
Jeff.
Me? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Another issue that Fernando alluded to a minute ago, I remember when I was doing my judicial clerkship for the Chief Justice of American Samoa 100 years ago, Governor A.P. Lutali, not the sharpest bulb in the tanning bed, but he brought a Chinese garment factory to American Samoa. And that place had a chain link fence around it with barbed wire around the top. And none of the workers in there, who were all Chinese workers, it didn't bring any jobs to American Samoa. None of the workers could leave the compound. It was baffling how we could have slavery occurring right under our own noses within our own United States territory. But yeah, it exists in California, it exists in New York and a lot of other places. And you'd think that an operation that big, people would find out about it and the FBI would be in there raiding it and figuring out what was going on. But I don't know. It seems like people don't care. I'm baffled by it. I think the kind of things we sweat about in both in the immigration debate and in policy debates in general in this country, are kind of minor by comparison to having real live slavery going on inside our own borders, both in human trafficking, sex trafficking, and as well as forced labor. And like I said, I think these are the biggest issues going on. My party, the Republican Party, was the anti-slavery party in the beginning. I want it to be the anti-slavery party on these issues too. Bill, you need to unmute.
Bill, you're muted.
Guidry, you've heard what all these others have said, and all their waxing, fantastic about whatever it is. But you're the only one here in this group that's on the front lines, dealing with immigrants, their problems, their challenges. And so I'm kind of wondering, part of me sometimes thinks, maybe whatever, I'm not going to call out Nick or anything, but I'm just going to say maybe sometimes he's just a blowfish and he's just, shooting his mouth off and doesn't even know what he's talking about. But thank God I have you here. So what are you thinking about this, Guidry? Literally from like front line on the line, say so.
Online, you reminded me of conversation that I had literally between Matamoros and one of the made-up courts with those additional judges to handle the cases. And right now, during the Trump's administration, when 60,000 people were forced to wait in Mexico instead of being allowed to wait for their procedure their courts in the United States. And I remember talking with the CBP, Custom Border Patrol agent who was guarding the court where I had a hearing. And I asked him, we're looking into the Mexico, inside of the Mexico, across the street, and he is telling to me, and there is not shooting, but some kind of sounds and fights. No, seriously. And then we talking to him, and I'm like, you have a lot of people from a lot of immigrants coming to the border and saying, hey, cartel is kidnapping us, extorting us, please allow us to enter the United States. And he says, yes, a lot of people, but because we have such a strict border security, a lot of people, like very few people get to come illegally. In addition to those people, immigrants looking for asylum, also less traffickers were allowed to come from, less cartel members were allowed to traffic drugs and people. And that was obvious because at that point, the cartel decided and had to compensate for that significant loss of money during that time. And they started kidnapping people within Mexico and kidnapping those same immigrants waiting in Mexico. So secure border could be done. That's my point. But my point is that it should be done in a humane way.
Yeah, Bill, can I just say, Guidry, I was not laughing at you. I was laughing at the comment that suggested that Bill joined Nick and Gitmo. So please understand, I was not laughing at you. I have far too much respect for you.
I'm already used to that. But really quickly, while Bill is still on mute, I will say another law piece of law I would propose in order to try to solve this problem is talk about the victims. About victims who have been trafficked, whether it would be forced labor, selling drugs, or it would be sex trafficking, and decriminalization of their crimes in order to help them to rehabilitate.
Okay, well, I was thinking, Deidre, I tend to think that you're right. Adam, I was both laughing with you when I saw that I ought to be in Gitmo. But that having been said, Nick, you have the floor.
Well, the thing is, I remember listening to Guidry's comment about how depressing it was, right? Your professor was depressed because every time he had to address the whole issue of human trafficking, he became more and more depressed. But let me tell you something, Guidry, there's something more depressing than that. And that's listen to Adam. That is definitely more depressing than listening to,
Join Bill and Gitmo.
Hardship. Okay, because the thing is, let me tell you something. There's a lot of things that we can do that are in a positive vein, but this close the border attitude, cut off these people's hands, who cares, and not allow people into the United States, which have made America great by bringing people in. Yeah, we do have to make sure we bring in the right people. Like I said, that's not a problem. Bring the right people in, open up the borders, let people know you're welcome here again, because we need people here to support our aging population. Hello. And then the thing is, that'll change the whole mindset, and it'll put these most of these human traffickers out of business, because they would have no way to sustain themselves anymore, because you're attacking you're creating a solution to the problem, not just adding more to the problem. So this way it's a lot less depressing.
No.
You should be sent to Pyongyang.
Okay, no, got that, Adam. Okay, well, okay.
That's not what it says.
All right, gentlemen, I've got to get Jeff, I've got to get Fernando in, and then we have to end this thing. But I'm sorry, Jeff, Fernando, and then we've got to, because we're running out of time, and Nick doesn't want to pay for the extra minutes.
Well, I think this has been an important discussion, and like I said, I think it is perhaps the most important law enforcement issue, certainly the most important organized crime issue. I want to know where the Republican Party of Abe Lincoln's time is. I want to know where the Democratic Party of Robert Kennedy's time is in attacking organized crime, because that's what we've got to do. Securing the border, immigration, that's a piece of the puzzle, but it isn't going to get it done. We've got to have aggressive prosecution, investigation, and cooperation with foreign governments. Tim Ballard and Operation Underground Railroad are doing the best that they can to address this problem, but a small nonprofit, raising money from tax-free donations, they can save a few one at a time. They don't have the resources to bring to bear to solve this problem. Every kid they save is a precious soul, and I'm all for that. I hope a lot of people will look up Operation Underground Railroad and pledge to give $10 a month to it or something and help out that cause. But I also believe, in terms of law enforcement, we've got to investigate aggressively. We've got to take down these orphanages that serve as fronts for human trafficking and the other front businesses. And we've got to investigate deeply the dark web and other areas where these folks hang out, and take the kingpins that are involved in this stuff and put them to death.
Okay. All right. Well, that is certainly a drop the mic moment. Fernando, can you beat that drop the mic moment? I mean, put them to death, because that's kind of a tall order, Fernando.
No, I agree with what Jeff is saying, that we have to attack at the base these orphanages in these countries. But what we also have to do is we have to find out in our embassies and our officials that are throughout the world where the leaks are, who's getting paid off to give these the coyotes and the mob, their visas so that they could bring people in legally. Where are the connections? Who are the rich people that are bringing in their, servants and then letting them stay here and keeping them as indentured servants? Also, I would say, you know what? We waste a lot of money on keeping prostitution illegal. Legalize prostitution, divert that money to human trafficking, to the trafficking of children, and to investigating the dark web, and to investigating all these things that we want law enforcement to do. Because right now, vice squads are split. So narrow their focus. Do what Nevada does. What Denmark has done. Make it legal. Tax it. Check it. Have health officials come look at it. Divert those dollars to this.
Take away the market.
No.
You
Right.
take away the market by making it legal.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fernando, Adam, I appreciate it. Guy, I love you. Jeff, thank you so much. Nick, Fernando just threw a grenade on our conversation. But what I need you to do, because we just run a tight ship here.
Yes, sir.
So I want to defer to you, the 3-time state chess champion in Florida, because I want to make sure that you're not just an LLM. I think people pigeonhole you for that, and that I think is wrong. I think it does a mischaracterization to you. I happen to think you're funny and a bad chess player. Fernando, Jeff, Adam, you should like that I just took a shot at Nick. Keidre, always a pleasure. Nick, can you land this plane?
Yes, I can, and like to thank. By the way, that whole issue of legalized prostitution, we got to bring that up on another show. I thought that was great. Fernando brought that up, and I'd like to thank our esteemed panel, and also at the same time, I'd like to thank Adam for being here on the Lawyer's Den. So we'd like to thank you all, and we'll see you next time on Lawyer's Den. Take it away. And Guidry goes, let's go look at something that took place 40 years ago. Who cares? Okay, that's political.